Beautiful, beautiful. Good morning, Seaside. Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, joining us. We really, really appreciate it. All right, I want to share a brand new song I wrote for Seaside last night, thinking and channeling and wanting to try to share a new message. So hope you like it. Take a look inside yourself and know you are enough. Be patient as the Spirit grows within. Don't put your life up on the shelf whenever times get tough. You've been created to win. The answer lies within you. The answer lies within you. The answer lies within you.
Becca, that is beautiful.
Thank you very
are
much.
creative in this time.
Thank
How
you.
fun.
Well, I was moved by your daily inspiration, so I read that and I said, creative, and so I wanted to write something to try to support that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I got a question for you, but first
Yes.
I want to say good morning, Seaside. Woo, what a joy it is to be here with you, and we can feel your love. The sanctuary is filled with your essence and your energy and your consciousness, and we will continue to stay committed to our mission, which is inspiring us to live our divinity. And so we are up for that, and we have got a good message for that, and we encourage you to take it out into the world. And I heard, Rebecca, you were up north this week.
I was in the Bay Area.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it was
What?
our first travel
First travel.
in months. It was weird.
Yeah. What were you doing up there?
Actually, we did Sheila E. is doing I can't call it live stream, but a taping, basically. We did taping for a concert. So
Nice.
have some special guests on it, and so she had her whole band as part of it, but we all socially distanced, of course. Physically distanced, I should say.
Yes.
And the whole band, we were in Yoshi's that's in Oakland, in Jack
nice.
London Square. So we were there, and it was awesome, and I'll definitely be sharing a link. That should be airing next week on the 23rd.
Oh, fun. So, yes, we're doing our physical distancing here. The band, everybody has got their space, got our own microphones, so we do that. But are you going to do another house concert soon?
I am. I'm going to be doing another live stream, my Rebecca Jade Homemade, this coming Saturday at 1 o'clock on Facebook.
Facebook. Yeah. So we just go to what?
Facebook.com/Lady Rebecca Jade.
Lady Rebecca Jade. Okay, well, how fun. Tell you what, we got a wonderful practitioner here today to pray us in.
Yes.
We got Sharon Ray, longtime practitioner here at Seaside, and to light the candle, sound the bell, take us into silence. Sharon Ray.
Oh, beloveds, I'm going to light this candle. We light this candle every time we have a service here at Seaside, because the light is the truth, and it represents and signifies all the practitioners and all the ministers here that are always knowing the truth for each and every one of us every single day. So let me light the light. And then please, beloveds, please join me into the silence. I rejoice, for this is the day that God hath made. I rejoice in its fullness, its allness, its perfection. I rejoice, for I know that everything that I need and everything that you need has already been given. That nothing is held back, that everything is for us. So I let go. I let go of my fear. I let go of my pain. I let go of my disappointment. And I step into this day. I rejoice, for this is the day that God hath made. For I know that nothing has been withheld, that everything that is needed and necessary for my growth, for my happiness, for my love, for my joy, for this day to be full to overfilling has already been given. For I know that it is God's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. So I know that the activity that takes place right here, right now, is the greater ability to receive it and to allow it. So I open to this day. I open to this service. I open to Reverend Christian's words of wisdom. I open to every note that is sung, every smile that is seen. I open to the absolute allness and wonder and beauty of this day. And I'm grateful. I rejoice, for this is the day that God hath made.
Blessings and grace, love overflowing, joy in this place. Spirit is showing blessings and grace. Mind, body, soul, and I am one with God. Blessings and grace, love overflowing, joy in this place. Spirit is showing blessings and grace. Mind, body, soul, and I am one with God.
That is beautiful, as always. If you haven't forwarded the connection for this morning's service to your family or friends, go ahead and do that now, because this morning's message is powerful, or at least I trust it's going to be. And I know the music is, and it's just a gift you can share with those you love. So, forward the link, whether it's on our platform, the seasidecenter.org, or the Facebook Live. Share that with a friend so more people can join us today, because something good is going on. I know that. Sharon, beautiful prayer got us going. I know we always have 50 practitioners and ministers praying during our Sunday service, but to have you in the house holding consciousness feels very special. So thank you. Thank you for that. And I know there's a lot of you out there, because we are receiving letters every week. They're coming with contributions. They're coming in emails. And I'd like to share a couple with you so you're aware that we're aware that we know you're there. So here's one from Jeff, who's sharing about how he and Arlene have been reading the daily guides on a regular basis. And he said we just fell apart emotionally. Both of us were just laughing and crying at the same time. And I'm just a master at stuffing inside here. But I feel a lot better now, because I just want you to know and to thank you and Callie and the staff that puts on this online ministry and keeps it going through this pandemic. I know that we're going to get through this, although I believe you're going to resume back to normal sometime soon again. So keep it going. This one's from Kathleen. She says, I've decided that it is appropriate for me to give even more as my monthly contribution to Seaside. Many of the people can't afford to contribute anything, and we'll still have here at Seaside the maintenance, the expenses, the mortgage, the insurance, and on. So being raised as a Mormon, oh, gotta love that. I was taught that the church was the house of God and our spiritual resource. And we were expected to take care of God's house that serves the children with our 10% tithe. So I'm glad we're not opening up until it's truly safe. We all want to be together again, but we can be part of the problem, so we can't open now. So stay healthy and safe, and I'm keeping giving more than ever. Here's one from Patrick. It says, I want to thank you again for carrying on the work of Seaside during these difficult times. The wonderful virtual Sunday services have such a positive and profound effect on people, not only within our city, but across the world. The Seaside community has been instrumental in helping me to navigate through some major transitions in my life. For the science mind philosophy has given me the tools to understand and thereby overcome life's challenges. Thank you, Patrick. I got more. Here's one from Emily. I'm going to stop reading because I could keep reading all over it. But every week I get one of these from Emily with a nice contribution in that. And they just keep coming in, and it means a lot. It's an inspiration. So I want to encourage you to send your letters, your thoughts, and let us know what kind of difference that we are making. And we're also looking for that 60-second video that says, hey, this is the difference Seaside is making in our life. I like to share that so you know what we're doing. I know we know it as individuals, but there's something profound to recognize that we have 1,000 to 1,500 people a week that are viewing this service. So a big part of this service is music. I want to say thank you to the band who continues to be there. They've been there through thick and thin. Safe distancing, of course, but we just thank you. Music has been an integral part of it, and Rebecca Jade has kept it going. And Rebecca, who do we have with us today? Come on up and let us... Oh, you know what? Not yet. You know who we have now is a special guest in my heart. I might even hear about this later because this is my very own partner, my spiritual compadre through life. We have a very special message today, and the one I'm allowed to kiss, too, in these wonderful times. The head of the Seaside Sisters, this is Callie Holmes Sorensen, and today's message is special to both of our hearts in a very deep way.
Well, good morning, spiritual family. It's always my joy to be with you. Thanks for that great introduction, hon. So, the movie today, The Peanut Butter Falcon, has a special place in our heart. As many of you may know, Christian and I have a specially abled son. So not unlike the young man that is portrayed, Zach, in this film, he also has this immense sense and desire for freedom and adventure. So we personally have used travel to push those boundaries for him, the reading that I've chosen today was in Dear Abby, and it's around the travel metaphor, which the movie also evolves around. We are often asked to describe the experience of raising a child with disability or special ability, to try to help people who have not yet shared that unique experience to understand it, to imagine how it might feel. It's like this. When you're going to have a baby, it's like planning a fabulous vacation trip to Italy. You buy a bunch of guidebooks and you make your wonderful plans. There's the Colosseum, there's Michelangelo's David, there's the gondolas in Venice. You may have been heard handy phrases in Italian. It's all very, very exciting. And so after months of eager anticipation, the day finally arrives. You pack your bags and off you go. Several hours later, the plane lands. And the flight attendant comes and says, "Welcome to Holland." Holland? You say, "What do you mean Holland?" What do you mean, Holland? I signed up for Italy. Well, I'm supposed to be in Italy. All my life, I've dreamed of going to Italy. But then there's been a change in the flight plan. They've landed in Holland, and there you must stay. The important thing is that they haven't taken you on a horrible, disgusting place, filthy place of pestilence and famine and disease. It's just a different place. So you must go out and buy new guidebooks. You must learn a whole new language. And you will meet a whole new group of people you may have never had the opportunity to meet. It's just different, a different place. It's a slower pace than Italy, less flashy than Italy. But after you've been there for a while and you catch your breath and you look around and you begin to notice that Holland has windmills. Holland has tulips. Holland even has Rembrandts. But everyone you know is busy coming and going from Italy. And they're all bragging about how wonderful of a time they've had there. And for the rest of your life, you will say, yes, that's where I was supposed to go. And that's what I had planned. And the pain of that you will never, ever, ever go away, because the loss of that dream is very significant loss. But if you spend your life mourning the fact that you didn't get to Italy, you may never be free to enjoy the very special place, the very loving things about Holland. So I believe that every one of us came to this earth with strengths and some with weaknesses, some not visible. We have been given an opportunity to learn how to have infinite capacity to love unconditionally. And I see this as the amazing gift our son Trevor is providing us with. So I'll leave you with this quote from Goethe. Treat people as they are, and they remain that way. Treat them as though they were what they can be, and we help them become what they are capable of becoming. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful reading, Callie. Thank you so much. Good morning, Seaside. Well, it is my honor to introduce our guest artists this morning. They have been guests here for many years, and we're just so grateful that they are able to come here together, this beautiful dynamic duo, married 32 years. Is that right? 32 years they've been married and creating music together, and it's just such a blessing that they get to be here with us today. This is their first time, actually. They've been doing a bunch of live stream appearances and whatnot, which is kind of the way we've been going. But it's the first time we actually get to see you in person.
It's our first time out.
Yeah, so we're so grateful that you were willing to come here and be part of the service this morning. So thank you so much. They're actually working on a new song coming out, and they are releasing a brand new music video the end of August. So make sure to stay tuned about that. But right
that
now,
gives me an extra month. No, the end of July.
Oh, I thought you said August. Oh, I'm sorry.
I've already extended the deadline. No, it better be July 30th.
There we go, the end of this month. So you got to get kicking the gear. Anyway, thank you so much for being here, and let's please welcome Cahill and Deline.
Thank you. Hi, Seaside. Good morning. We can't see you, but we definitely feel your energy.
Hey, I want to mention something. This is really especially cool we're doing this song today, because over here on drums is Paul Kimbaro, who was the drummer on the recording of this song. We could have had anybody in town, but we chose Mr. Paul, so this is really cool.
So we're going to do one of our own songs, and it's a three-way co-write with Carl Anthony, and it's called Everybody Matters, and we actually wrote and recorded this song long before the Lives Matter movement. And you know, it's all just about love and respect, you know, with all those lives. So this is called Everybody Matters. And you can sing along, okay? Sing and dance along. Dance like nobody's watching because nobody is. So how it goes is, everybody matters, everyone wants love. And then you repeat that and it goes, love, 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 everyone wants love. Okay, you got it. Here we go. Everybody matters. Everyone wants love. Everybody matters. Everyone wants love. Let me hear you say love, love, love. Everyone wants love.
I was walking through the park. It was getting kind of dark. I saw a man without a home. He looked so desperate and alone. I didn't know if I could smile or think about it for a while. I walked away without a glance.
Oh, why couldn't I take a chance? Everybody matters. Everyone wants love. Everybody matters. Everyone wants love. Let me hear you say love, love, love. Everyone wants love. I was driving down the road, overwhelmed on overload. Pulled up the side of the limousine. Rich man reading Fortune magazine. He looked happy and alone. Doing just my mobile phone. He wouldn't even look my way. Rolled down my window and I had to say, hey, hey. Everybody matters. Everyone wants love. Everybody matters. Everyone wants love. Let me hear you say love, love, love. Everyone wants love. Blow, daddy, blow. People, let me tell you that you matter tonight. Everybody matters. Everyone wants love. Everybody matters. Everyone wants love. Let me hear you say love, love, love. Everyone wants love. Yeah, 'cause everybody matters. Everyone wants love. We want it, we want it. Everybody matters. Everyone wants love. Let me hear you say love, love, love. Everyone wants love. Let me hear you say love, love, love. Everyone wants love. Let me hear you say love, love, love. Everyone wants love, love, love. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh.
Hey, that is Cahill and Deline. Everybody wants love. So true. My goodness. Oh, wow. That's your first live gig in person since March 10th. That is a long time. I'm glad we could get, yay, Seaside. That's it. We have so many musicians that are so gracious and willing to mail in their presentation for Sunday morning. But you know what? Seaside is about live, and we create this safe bubble, and we give you the live show because it is happening right now in this moment. And your song was perfect. Everybody wants love. And this morning's message is about that. As you know, what we've been doing is taking a look at life lessons from the cinema. And the one today, I watched it again this week with Callie, and just both of our hearts were cracked wide open. It was like that Sleeper one. It was the #1 grossing independent film from 2019. And it came from a couple of guys, the writers, directors. They were doing a camp, an acting camp for people with special needs or special abilities, as Callie shared. And there was this one standout teen in there who just really caught their attention, and at the break, and they're talking or eating or whatever, Zach Goodensgen comes up to them and says, "You know what? I want to be a movie star. I want to be a famous actor." And they're touched, and this was about 8 years ago, and they said to Zach, there just aren't that many scripts in Hollywood that are written for leading men with disabilities. And I love this. He said, "So write one for me." And that's exactly what they did, is they went on to create this 6-year project, and they created this film based upon Zach's likes and what he enjoys doing. And they created the script that is about self-determination. It is about a love that shows up in friendships and families. And they took the script and images of Zach doing some pieces, and they shared it with Shia LaBeouf. And this guy saw it and just fell in love with the script. And Zach, what he said about Zach is that he is the purest, most intense expression of spirit, in the sense that he cannot be dishonest. And when you're acting, what you want to do is, it goes like this, to open your heart. What you want to do in acting is be true. You want it to be real. And he said the thing with Zach is he's that all the time. He says when he talks, you lean in and you listen a little bit harder. What happens is there is an intensity to love this guy. They showed this script to Dakota Johnson, who plays Eleanor in this film, where she is the social worker for the old folks' home, if you would. And she said, in Hollywood, or at least in my industry, you don't easily open yourself to others. And she said with Zach, you just instantly finding yourself opening your heart to and letting him in. She said, you just don't let people in your heart that much in our industry. And with Zach, that's not the case. And so before I really get into talking about the story, I want to run this trailer. It's a couple minutes here. And it just gives you an idea of these guys and the characters and the storyline. So
there's sheep in this world, and there are wolves in this world. And I know that you two boys are just two weary travelers who lost your way. So, we're gonna clean you up right with a baptism.
I'm more of a baptism by fire type.
Okay.
Come to my wrestling school and become a badass.
That's what he wants to do with the rest of his life.
Yes, it is.
You let a half-naked boy with Down syndrome who has no idea how to get along in this world just slip out from under your nose. You two are close.
We are.
Well, then you'll figure out where he's at and you'll bring him back.
Are you following me?
Maybe we could be friends and buddies, bro dogs, and chill. Have a good time.
You said the wrestling school's in Aiden?
Yeah.
One long road leads all the way down. I'll drop you there then.
I'm looking for a missing person. Have you seen him?
Little man on a lamb. Met your girlfriend back there, Eleanor. 2 bandits on the run.
Oh, yeah!
Rule number 1, don't slow me down. Rule number 2, I'm in charge. Hey, what's rule number 1?
Party?
No, not party.
Zach, you have a young boy with Down syndrome in the middle of nowhere.
All right, well, while you've been doing paperwork, we've been doing something called living. Oh, man!
Tyler, I'm gonna give you all of my wishes for my birthday.
I made a promise to him, give him that wrestling school in Aiden.
No, we're not gonna hop on your little raft and cruise around down the river.
Hey, Eleanor, I don't wanna go home.
Oh!
Yeah.
So how far is it?
About that far on the map.
Are your fingers to scale?
Yep.
I think it's time for us to go back now.
We could be a family.
Friends are the family you choose.
Wrestlers got alter egos. You need a name.
Falcon. Peanut Butter Falcon!
Oh my, it's worth seeing. But I want you to know that it begins in this convalescent home where you've got the old people and you got Zach who's approaching his 22nd birthday, and the movie begins with him getting one of these older women to fake choking so he can escape the place, and he runs away and he gets tackled and he's brought back, and you saw him sitting in his room with Bruce Dern, who also signed on to do this real low budget movie, but everybody loves Zach. And so he's sitting in that room talking to Dakota Johnson or Eleanor about, this is the second time he has tried to escape. And Bruce Stern says, or Carl is his name, he says, but he doesn't belong here. We're all old. He's, it's going to be 22. And she said, but this is the best the state can do. His parents have abandoned him. And so that night, he's talking with Carl. Zach and Carl are talking after watching the wrestling matches for like the 10th time. And I got to tell you, I relate to that because Trevor will watch the same movie over and over, but not only the same movie, he plays the track again, reverse, and he watches that same piece and that same piece. And like, Trevor, is that enough? And Carl's going to Zach, we've seen that wrestling match how many times? And it's like, I'll help you escape. And Zach says, you're like family. And Carl says, but that's what friends are. They're your chosen family. And Zach says, when I have my birthday, I'm going to invite you to my birthday. And so they open up the bars on the window, and he couldn't fit it, so he took his clothes off, and you saw him slip through and run off in his little white tighties into the darkness of night, going... Who knows where he was going? It's like you don't always know what's going on inside that head. He wanted to go to this wrestling school, but he has no idea. It's in a town called Abel. Where's Abel? But see, this is the self-determination. We don't give enough credit oftentimes to individuals who've got the special abilities. We think, they're not capable, but he knew. He has this self-determination. I'm going. Well, he's out. It's night, no place to go. So he hides out in a boat and covers over and goes to sleep. And where we pick up our next character, Tyler. Now, Tyler, he's down on his luck. We see him stealing crabs out of a crab pot out in the water and taking them back to like his employer or somebody. You could tell this guy cared about him. It was like a father figure, but he says, Tyler, we can't buy stolen crabs. They're going to take my license. You've got to go. He says, I can't go. You're taking care of me. He says, you can't stay. This behavior can't happen. Your brother would be disappointed. Think about your brother who would be wanting to help you. And you could tell his brother's probably not in this world. And as he's leaving, the guys he stole the crabs from, Duncan and Rat Boy. I like that. These guys just beat Tyler to the ground and leave him all beat up, and he's nursing his wounds after it, and he gets upset, and he decides he's going to burn all of their crab pots. Not maybe the most conscious choice, because if you're in trouble with somebody, you don't want to make them madder, but he puts them all on fire on the dock, and out come these guys. They're running, shooting guns after Tyler. Tyler jumps in his boat, and he takes off, and these guys go get in their boat, and they're shooting their guns, and they spend the whole movie trying to chase this guy down. And he goes zooming through the waterways of North Carolina, and he gets into the reeds, and he turns off his boat and tries to be quiet, hanging down, and all of a sudden he hears like somebody throwing up in the back underneath the cover of his boat. And he looks, and there is Zach just puking from the ride and the smell and the diesel. And it's like, shh, quiet. And it passes, and he says, I'm going to take you to where we're going, and then off you go. There's like no love here. So he takes him to the outer banks of North Carolina. He puts bullet holes and sinks his boat, and he starts leaving Zach behind in his little whitey tighties, and he's walking away, and the water's coming in, and they got to get to the mainland, and he turns behind, and you saw Zach's following him at a distance. Are you following me? He said, I can't swim. Which isn't good. When the tide's coming in, you have a kid saying, I can't swim. I don't care what kind of hoodlum or vagabond or thief you might be. There's something. Okay, I'm just taking you to the shoreline. And they get to the shoreline. He says, see you later. And he leaves Zach by the water, and he takes off. And when he gets to the road, he hears that they're looking for this guy who burned some crab pots, and the pier caught fire, and they're looking for him. They got roadblocks. So he turns around and goes back to where Zach was. You follow me? So he's returning where he left Zach, but now Zach has a 13-year-old bully pushing him around, says, jump in the water, jump in the water. They're up on this platform, jump in the water. And he's like, they're pushing him, he's pushing him. And now Tyler says, he can't swim. The kid's saying, I can't swim. And he comes running up, and just about as he gets there, this teenage bully pushes Zach into the water, and he sinks down who knows where. Tyler runs up on the platform, punches that little teen bully, jumps in the water, and pulls Zach out, saves his life. He recognizes, this kid's not going to really be able to function on his own. See, this friendship that begins to build, two unlikely companions here. But that's what love does, And Tyler has this self-determination. He's going down to Florida. And so he tells Zach, where are you going? Zach says, I'm going to this wrestling school in Abel. And he said, well, Abel, I'm passing by Abel. I'll tell you what. And he shows him a map. You can go with me, and I'll leave you in Abel. Now, this isn't charity. You can come with me. And so he pulls off his boots, off his backpack, and some clothes, and he gives them. He says, we got to go get some food. And they're walking along, and he says, you got any money? He said, no, I had my underwear. There's no money in my underwear. I'm a 22-year-old Down syndrome guy. He says, I don't give a shit. It's like, I don't care what your story is. This is the situation. This is where we're living now. We got to go get some food. And so he had enough money. He went into the store, and he got some peanut butter and some fish hooks and, some ding-dongs and something to drink. And the guy says, how much is that? Or Tyler, and the guy at the counter tells him, I don't have that money. Let me put this away. He said, now how much is it? He said, what happens if I put these away, the ding-dongs? The guy says, I'm not used to negotiating with someone who has a gun. He has his shotgun on his back. He sets it down. And he just gets down to the fish hooks and the peanut butter. And he says, how much is this little shot of whiskey? He says, $2. And at that time, Eleanor comes in with the picture, which you saw from the movie clip, asking, have you seen this kid? Nope. And he asks Tyler, have you seen this kid? And Tyler says, is there a reward? No, that's not a reward. She has to go look for this child to bring him back. So she leaves. He pays the guy for the peanut butter and the fish hooks, and the guy pulls out this bottle of hooch, this moonshine from behind the counter, and says, you can have this. I think you probably look like you need this more than I do. And with that, they give it. And Tyler comes back, and now he's all excited to see Zach. Hey, Zach, you little man on the lam. Woo! And they come up with this handshake together, boom, front, back, 4 times. They got it down. You follow me, and only 2 rules, right? You heard what the 2 rules are. First, don't slow me down. And the second is I'm in charge. So what's the first rule? Party! No. And they walk, and he keeps talking. Hey, Tyler, what about this? Tyler, what about that? Hey, Tyler, I want you to know what. It's like Tyler says enough. Shh. It just cracks me up because Trevor's always, hey, Dad, hey, Dad, hey, Dad, which is nice for a while. But eventually, after incessant, Tyler's like, quiet, can't you just be quiet for a minute? Shh. You know, it gets on you, but yet there's a bonding, there's a friendship. It's like brothers, a family, something. You know, they both got their self-determination. None really have the ability to do what they're setting off to do on their own, but there's a divine intervention that's going on. Well, they get to the edge, and they have to swim across the waterway. We know Zach can't swim. He said, okay, I'll tell you what. He fills up these trash bags, and so he swims them on his back halfway across the river, and then he puts the rope on, big long rope. It stretches back, and he starts swimming across out into the center of the waterway, long rope pulling Zach behind him on these floating trash bags. When then all of a sudden, this big shrimp boat, fish boat, comes barreling down, not barreling, but moving consistently down the waterway. He can't see the long rope between one side where Tyler is and the other side. And all of a sudden, you know, Tyler begins to pull the rope because he sees that, you know what, Zach's about to get run over by this boat. He cannot swim. He's a goner for sure, and he's pulling with all his life and his might. And, you know, he's just remembering the conversation he had before he got in the water. You know, Zach asked him, am I going to die? He said, you're not going to. He said, of course you're going to die. You just don't know when you're going to die. You know, and what matters is, do you have a good story to tell when you die? And he's going, oh man, my last conversation. And he's pulling with all his might. He just gets him past that shrimp boat. And he kind of collapses on the shoreline. And Zach comes walking up out of the water, kind of oblivious to what went on. And he grabs Tyler by the arm and just boom, pulls him up with such muscle. It's like, where'd that come from? It's like, what strength? And he looks at Tyler and says, now that's a good story to tell. And from there, it's a deep bonding that goes on. You know, at that night, Tyler asks him, would you be my trainer? I want to train to be this wrestler. And he says that I don't know if I can be a good wrestler. I'm not a good person. He said, what? You've got like the best hearts of any people I know. He said, why? He said, I'm not good because I've got Down syndrome. I'm not a good guy. My coach told me that I'm not good. He called me a retard. He said, I'm just not good. And Tyler says, that's just not so. You know, you might not be very good at swimming, but it's because your body's not lean and built like a swimmer. But you have got muscles. You pulled me out of the water like I was nothing. You got to go with what's in your heart. You want to be a wrestler. You got to do that. Of course, I will train you. And then there's a moment of silence, and Zach asks Tyler, are you a good man or a bad man? And Tyler flashes back to leaving a bar with his brother who's sleeping in the passenger seat, and he's driving home late at night, and he nods off and falls to sleep at the wheel, and you get that he was driving the car. And you understand why this guy who's kind of got some good patterns to him is broken and sad. He hasn't been able to forgive himself. He's carrying this burden of having killed his brother. And he says to the answer, are you a good man or a bad man? He says to Zach, what do you think? And Zach says, you're a good man. Yeah. And so they carry on their journey. He teaches him how to swim. He teaches him how to fire. You saw a shotgun, got knocked away off off his butt. He teaches, they wrestle. They get some watermelon. They wear these watermelon helmets and wrestling. He pushes them on hay bales. He has them lifting things. He really is turning into the trainer as they are walking along. But now it's time to cross the river again, or the waterway, and they need to find something to build a raft. And they see a yard that's kind of like a junkyard, but it's somebody's house in the marshes. And they start looking at it, and out comes this guy who you saw, curly hair, kind of like preacher. His name's Jasmine, and he says, "Who goes there?" And he takes a shot, and you saw him, shooting out there. He says, "Are you a lamb or a wolf?" And he says, "Even though I'm blind, I can tell if you're a lamb or a wolf, and you two guys just lost in your travels. Do you fear the Lord?" "Yeah." He's got a gun in his hand. "You bet. I fear the Lord." "Well, good. Come on inside." And he's a good guy. Jasmine's a good guy. He tells them stories. He feeds them. He says, "I'll tell you what. Got to get you the stuff so you can use whatever you want here to build a raft. But first, got to baptize you." And you saw he goes down and he baptizes Zach, and he asks Tyler. Tyler says, "Baptize by fire." And he says, I don't do that one. But it's an amazing, heartfelt moment watching these two guys, build their raft together. Tyler says, will you be my friend? He goes, "Yeah." He says, "Well, I'm going to invite you to my birthday party too." And these guys are building these rafts and putting their time into it, and they get the raft, and they push off into the marsh. And the sun is filtering through the trees. It's a beautiful golden haze. And they're just sitting on the edge as their raft is drifting out. And Zach, you saw him lean over to Tyler and said, "I want to give you the wishes for my birthday." And Tyler just lost it. There was such unconditional love coming from the kid who doesn't have anything to give but his birthday wishes. And the fact that he wanted to give his birthday wishes to Tyler. And then he put his arm around him, and Tyler just cried into his arms. Little realizing that Tyler needed Zach as much as in that moment, because as they were going away, the preacher was saying, "You guys will go safe in the grace of the Lord. No harm will come to you anymore." And there they are. And out they go. And so they pull into shore that night. And Zach limps out. He hurt his ankle. Tyler says, "I got something for that." Pulls out that bottle of hooch, the moonshine, and said, "Here, take a swig of this." And woo, party! And he gives it over to Tyler, and Tyler takes a swig, and they're doing this, and the sun's going down. They got a bonfire going, and they're kind of, feeling a little good. Zach's saying, "I don't feel my ankle anymore. I don't even feel my hands anymore. This is good." And he tries to lift this big tree that's in the bonfire. He can't even begin to lift it. And he says, "I'm not going to be able to wrestle. I can't even lift this." And Tyler says, "So what's your pseudonym? What is your persona as a wrestler?" He said, "What's that?" He said, "Well, who's your favorite wrestler?" He said, "My favorite wrestler is Saltwater Redneck. That's where I'm going, down to his camp. I've watched his videos over and over and over. That's where I'm going. That's Saltwater Redneck." He said, "Well, who do you want to be?" And then Zach says, "I want to be Falcon." He said, "Okay." And Tyler gets up and he goes into the bushes and he comes out with these branches. He takes his duct tape and he wraps it all around him. And all of a sudden he's put these branches that now become the wings of the falcon. And he says, "Let's make some noise." Yeah, like you're serious. And they're going, and they're making all these growls and sounds and feeling good. He says, "You need some war paint." What is war paint? Oh, and he takes the peanut butter and he puts the peanut butter stripes across his face and under his eyes. And they're making all these sounds. And then Zach goes and grabs that big tree in the fire and lifts it up and throws it on the other side. End of the scene. Guys, kind of waking up next morning feeling that moonshine that's moving through them. And they wake up to Eleanor, the social worker, Dakota Johnson, who tracked them down because she too went to Jasmine, and Jasmine kind of gave her an idea where these guys were going. And she shows up in their little encampment and wakes up Zach, who, he's got this peanut butter that's now black ash on his face and a wing, it's not looking the best morning after kind of thing. So what happened to you? He said, let me put a shirt on you. And Tyler says, he can put his own shirt on him. And she said, who are you? And he said, I'm the one that found him. He said, I'm going to have you arrested for kidnapping. He said, you can't arrest me for kidnapping. He's a runaway. He says, I'm sure I can find something to arrest you for. He says, well, I've at least been taking care of him instead of trying to cage him up. She said, what do you want to do? He's got the ramifications and the regulations and the medication and all these things papers you got to write to keep track. And he said, while you're writing papers, we're out here living. He said, well, what do you want for him? And she's like, well, he's not for sale. I wouldn't sell him. They said, no. What do you want for him? What are your dreams? What are your goals? And she's just befounded and it's like, and she said, you know what? I promised Zach that I was going to take him down to Abel, where saltwater redneck has his wrestling camp, who's going to teach him how to wrestle. I made that promise, and I'm going to do it. So I'm telling you what, I'm going to be nice enough to invite you on our raft to go with us, but we're leaving now. She said, excuse me, and Zach picks up the keys, and you saw that, and he throws it out of the water, and she's like, ooh, and he's got that little jig going on, and Tyler's got that little move going on. You talk about bonding. They're turning into family. That friendship moved to a deeper place. Carl told them that, friends are the family of choice, and these two have got some things going on. And she said, she being Eleanor said, what's going on, this raft thing, I'm breaking up this band here, this Tom Sawyer adventure, enough's enough, but she has no choice. Car's gone. And she gets on the raft, and they sail off from the Outer Bank, and they're out there just in the waterways together on a raft. A little conversation begins, and she says to Tyler again, you want me to put shirt on? And he says, he can put his own shirt on. Yeah. He said, Zach, here, you want some cold water? Water anyway, I don't know, it's cold. You want some water? And Tyler says, he can get water if he's thirsty. Let him make his own choice. Zach, you want an apple? Lady, said, Zach, why don't you put your head in the water in the back of the boat for a moment? You need to do that. Innocent kids. Okay, I'll put my head. And, Tyler lays into Eleanor and saying, you underestimate him. You keep disempowering him. And I sure get this. Trevor, I tie his shoes. I make the dinner for him. I wait for him to get there. I baby him and disempower him to be all thinking that I need to set everything in order for him. And he's laying into her and he picks his head up. Zach picks his head up. And wow. And now Eleanor says, Zach, put your head back in the water. And now she lays into Tyler about, he doesn't know what. And then Zach pops up and he catches a fish. And he gives it to Tyler. Tyler pounds the fish on the deck. And those boys go hand slap, boom, 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 boom. And she says, what was that? She said, and Zach says, this is our secret hand slap. She said, well, I want to know it. He said, no, you can't. And she says, what do you need a hand slap for? Well, when I almost got killed on the waterway, he said, what? Or when he taught me how to shoot the gun, she goes, what? And it's like, and then they get into laying, and the bonding begins to go deep. They cook the fish by the bonfire. They swim together. Zach's now able to swim. It's like you can feel this camaraderie from being on adventure together that is absolutely nothing. That was the intention. But you have this self-determination. And love enters into the friendships that are building. And things begin to happen. They're sleeping in a shack on the shore. And a fire comes outside at night. And Tyler goes out to check it out. And as he gets out there, Rat Boy and Duncan found them. They lit the raft on fire. and they beat Tyler to the ground. They had a gun, and he said, "You got to pay. I'm going to shoot one of your hands, put a bullet through one of your hands. You want your right hand or your left hand?" You go, no, wait. You want your right hand or your left hand? And that moment, Zach steps out the door with his shotgun that Tyler had been carrying and says, "You let him go or I'm going to shoot." They said, "You can't shoot straight with that thing." He says, "It's a shotgun and it spreads and I hit everything." And the guys leave. So next morning, they're having breakfast at a cafe. Now they got Eleanor, who's got her credit card, so that's always good for a couple guys who are kind of on the lam there. And she calls in to the head of the convalescent home. Says, "I got him, I'm bringing, and they said, "Bring him home now." He said, "Well, I'll be able to get him home tomorrow." He says, "You have him?" I said, "Yeah, he's right here." And she's watching Tyler and Zach playing at the end of the cafe. And they said, "We found a new placement for him. You said he's a threat to run away. We're going to lock him up with convicts and drug addicts." She says, "You can't do that." Now she's in this quandary. And she puts down the phone and she's thinking. The waitress comes and said, "Do you know where Saltwater Redneck lives?" She said, "Oh, Saltwater. Everybody knows Saltwater. He's a legend around here." And she tells them, and so next scene is you see them walking to Saltwater's. But it's a run-down trailer he's living in. There's no sign of any wrestling school going on there. And Tyler goes to the door and knocks as Zach and Eleanor stand behind. And a guy answers. He said, "Does Saltwater live here?" He said, No, Saltwater." He said, "What's your name?" "My name's Clint." And he realizes that Clint is who Saltwater was. He said, "Did the wrestling school ever go on?" He said, "I closed that 10 years ago." See, the kid was watching VHS videotapes, so you got to realize, it was probably old what he was watching. And he realized that this guy wasn't going to cut it, and he told Zach, "You know what? Come here, meet Clint. This is where Clint lives." And they shook hands, and he said, "Redneck he's just not anymore. He's not around." And they're walking away kind of dejected, and they're saying, "There just is not a Saltwater anymore, Zach." And he said, "That's not so. Saltwater lives. I know he does. And they're talking about, what we're going to do next. And Tyler says, "I'm going down to Florida." And Zach says to Eleanor, "You want to go with us? I'll take care of you." All very cute, but in that moment you hear the revving of this Camaro come driving up, turning in the sand, and there's Clint, put his makeup back on, this old loud convertible Camaro, saying, "Hey kid, I heard you're looking for me. You want to jump in?" And he says, "Can my family jump in?" He says, "Oh, come on." And they go racing around, and he takes them out, and he does some training. He says, "What move you want to learn?" And he says, "I want to learn the atomic throw." And Saltwater says, "That was television. The atomic throw is not real. You can't lift somebody above your head and throw them through the air. I'd lift them up, and they'd cut the TV, and then they'd show it. But I can teach you everything else." And so they spent a magical day. They're having dinner, getting ready to go home the next day. And Zach says, "I want to wrestle for real." I said, "Well, I don't know if you're quite ready for that." He said, "Oh yeah, and the guy in Saltwater said, there's a card, there's a wrestling match tomorrow in somebody's backyard. We can get you in there, but you could get hurt. You might break something. You're definitely going to bleed. It's going to be difficult. You're new at this." To which Eleanor says, "Is there something wrong here? I don't think this is okay." And they head out to the next day for the wrestling match. As the movie, is coming to a close, and he watches the wrestling going on, and Zach's match is next. The Peanut Butter Falcon's match is next, and Tyler and Eleanor are in the car, and Tyler did say, "Hey, you do want to come down to Florida with us? You are welcome." And they're getting close, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're smooching, and it's like one of those moments. And he takes the handcuffs off the windshield that are there of Saltwater's and puts it on her hand and on the steering wheel, because he knew she wasn't going to let the kid go through with it, and leaves her locked up and goes on into the barn. And in there, Saltwater's giving the kid a pep talk, which just scares him. He's terrified. He's petrified. He can't move. And in comes Tyler, his bro, best friend, family. Says, yeah, let's get back into that roar. Gets him back to that campfire and gets him roaring, builds him a cardboard falcon head, gets him some wings, sends him out there, and the crowd just silent. But then all of a sudden he starts slapping hands. The Falcon Peanut Butter kid, man, starts getting everybody excited. And this little kid, crawls into the ring against this old-time wrestler who's now jealous that this kid could stir up a crowd like that. This old-time wrestler was supposed to take a fall, and now he is ticked off, and he throws him down, and he hurts him, and he creates pain. And Zach could barely get up, and Tyler says, "You can stop now. You've done good, Zach." He said, "No." And he pulls that moment, that adrenaline, that magic, that self-determination, that love for doing what was good in his heart that he wanted to do, that everything led him. And he grabbed that big old wrestler, and it was the atomic throw that wasn't possible. He throws it because of his immense muscles. And as the guy's flying out of the ring, in run Rat Boy and Duncan, the guys that had been going after Tyler, with a tire iron, and they just beat Tyler to the ground. Probably dead. Movie blacks out, and it comes back on, and you're in a hospital, and you see Dakota or Eleanor just kind of praying, chanting, crying. Black flashes to Zach, sitting by himself. 2 candles, 22nd birthday probably, knowing that he is giving his wishes to Tyler. Come on, bro. You'll live. And the movie ends with Eleanor driving and Zach in the passenger seat, heading down south. She's going to keep the kid. They see a sign that says, "Welcome to Florida." And Eleanor says, Zach, look it. We're getting to Florida. And Zach reaches over into the back seat, says, "Hey, Tyler, get up, we're making it to Florida." And you see him all bandaged up from the hospital, black and blue, and they do their slap, and the movie blacks out. And that's it. Woohoo is right. I get so excited about this movie because it's about love. It is about that self-determination. It is about friends that become your chosen family. It is about the magic of being on an adventure, not knowing where it's going to go, but trusting that I have got a call that has pulled me out into who knows where. It is a reminder to me that my son has more abilities and capabilities than I let him show me because I jump in so quickly to take care of him. This story is about heart. It is about love. And this kid is pure. And as you watch it, you cannot help but to feel your heart cracked open. So I encourage you to go ahead and watch the Peanut Butter Falcon. You'll be glad you did. I love you. God bless you. Yes. Hey, coming back to our stage, the first time they are out since March 10th, right back here at the Seaside stage is Barry, Cahill, and Darlene. Hey.
I loved Dr. Christian's lesson. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was fabulous. And that was better than the trailer. Much better than the trailer. And obviously we're all going to watch that now that we have a good idea of the movie.
Yeah.
We're going to watch it tonight. So our song here is called Not So Far Away, and it's about faith, hope, and love. I think you might remember me. You used to know me well before you were introduced to fear and doubt. I was with you on that cold, dark day when you were all alone, and you thought that things would never turn around. It was me who moved a mountain that was standing in your way. I believe you want me back, so I will wait. My name is Faith. My name is Faith. I notice you've been looking at that star up in the sky, searching for a light to guide you home. You think you need a reason just to trust a simple prayer. I am here when you thought I might be gone. I am the companion of the happiness you'll find, and I promise I am always ever close. My name is Hope. My name is Hope. We are the voices that still whisper in the dark. And if you listen carefully, you'll know just where we are. Carrying the promises that heaven's not so far away. I'm the one who speaks the loudest. I'm the keeper of them all. I was born before the world was ever here. I am everywhere and everything you'll ever need to know. I'm the passion in your laughter and your tears. I'm the healer of the broken, the forgiver of your soul. I am ready to descend just like a dove. My name is love. My name is love. We are the voices that still whisper in your heart. And if you listen carefully, you'll know just where we are. Carrying the promises that heaven's not so far away. Carrying the promises that heaven's not so far away. My name is Faith. My name is Hope. My name is Love.
That was beautiful. Oh, my goodness. What a perfect message for this morning's message. Hey, this is the time of our service where we have the opportunity to share our gift. And your gift is real important at this time. You know, we're not gathering. And so what we are missing out on is all the in-the-moment giving, all the cash contributions that tended to come in on Sunday mornings. Also, what we're missing is all the special events that we have done through the years here at Seaside. We're also missing the rentals. A lot of people love Seaside as their venue, and those aren't going on. So that makes this moment important. As Kathleen wrote, as House of God, and it's all of our responsibility to take care of this. And so as we give, what we find is Spirit takes care of our life in those ways that are perfect. You could be out in the middle of the waterways and the north banks or the outer banks of North Carolina, and Spirit is showing up in the ways that you didn't even know you needed. That's what we're working with. And we are moving through a tenuous time that we've never done before. We know where we are going to be when we move through it, but we don't know how we're getting from here to there, other than it will take all of us working together, supporting this. So listen to your heart. I know you're a good person, good in your heart, and you're supporting Spirit's work that shows up in this world at Seaside. We're touching more and more people all the time to be inspired by that Spirit within and to live their divinity. We're doing good and it's working, and they need this message more than ever. So it's a joy for us to bring it. So as you give, it comes back. It's an extension of your consciousness. You are the activity Spirit is having in your life. So allow that activity to be grand and great and glorious, and feel the blessings that come from being in alignment with your heart. So with that, I share this prayer of gratitude with the most generous of spiritual communities, knowing that this is a blessed moment where the fullness of the divine expresses through each and every one of us. We become that vortex through which that wellspring of the inexhaustible pours forth into expression in our life in those very ways that bring the joy, the happiness, the love, the ability to give and to share and to be that light and to walk through this world with a sense of composure, confidence, joy, and a deep peace, because my source is inexhaustible. I say thank you for this awareness and acting from that kind of consciousness. So with joy I give, and with joy I receive. Go ahead. Press that button on your screen that says donate now. Thank you to those who are part of the auto tithe that have committed. Say, count me in. Thank you to all that have given this week and previous weeks that make it possible. Let's say together the affirmation of our abundance, which is, Spirit continues to bless my world. Gratefully I live as the giving expression of Spirit, opening the floodgates of the affluent flow of greater good as my life now. Hey, all right, that is Barry joining the guys from the band. Nice job. And Adeline, thank you so much for being with us today. And what a combo the two of you are. And Rebecca, bless you for your love. And looking forward to your concert this Saturday, 1 o'clock, you said? Just go to your Facebook Live page. So that'll be good. Callie, thank you for joining me this morning. It was just very special to have your heart in that and just sharing what's near dear to us. And Sharon Ray, bless you for holding consciousness. And I know that the practitioners are available right after the service. So if anybody wants to call in, or you do that through Zoom, and you go one-on-one in a private chat room with face-to-face with a spiritual practitioner. You share what's going on, and you receive a prayer. So go to our website, go to Zoom, or if you got your own, you put in the password, which is Ernest. So thank you to the wonderful tech team for bringing this forward week after week. I love you and appreciate you. Yeah, and next week, the movie, The Life Lesson, will be coming from The Shape of Water. And that's another unique movie for sure, but it is absolutely open to the diverse expressions of Spirit. So with that, you have a wonderful week. I will wrap this up with prayer, share this message, these life lessons from the Peanut Butter Falcon with your friends, your family. Know that in sharing this, it makes a difference in the world. That's what we can do. So knowing right now that there is a love that fills this space. There is a wisdom that guides the universe. It's infinite. It's all-knowing. A divine intelligence that is the very truth of all things. It absolutely expresses now. I am one with that. I feel it. Sense that I speak from this place knowing that infinite wisdom that is timeless has been through times such as this that we find ourselves in. And that innate wisdom that lives within the very nature of our being, the nature of this planet, is guiding us through this time of concern and fear of a virus. It knows how to neutralize this dynamic. For it is already resolved within the mind of God. It has already known the way through. This adventure upon which humanity is navigating together will have some good stories to tell, some powerful stories to tell. That is part of doing this thing called life. That is part of incarnating in this time, in this world. There comes constriction, fear, anxiety, but they become points of growth. Not contention, but expansion. For the wisdom that has created all things. It's the wisdom that I am, that you are. And so what I know right now is wholeness for humanity expressing this moment. For this is the moment, a divine moment. And it is in this divine resonance that it touches each and every one of us in a personal way, dissolving the concerns, the worries, the fears, those situations that have grasped our mind and our thinking, and we're able to move into a place of letting go, of forgiveness, of surrender, of trust, of faith. Finding the floodgates of good opening up, pouring forth the blessings, the richness, the abundance, supporting the new vision of the greater possibility, no longer amplifying the fear and the concern, but seeing a calling that is on the other side of the veil and all that is necessary to cross this waterway, to cross this time. Even though that impending shrimp boat looks like it's coming down right on us, there is a strength that is pulling us through this time. And so with a sense of joy, I'm able to step onto the shore of solid ground, knowing the wholeness of who I am, God expressing. I trust that dream that has been implanted within me. Ernest Holmes talks about the infinite possibilities forever seeking expression through us. We become that place of divine expression. And with that, the littleness, the pettiness, the fears, the anxieties just fall away. I step upon solid shore, trusting, believing in something greater. So if there's anything that has grasped and held you down, give it up to God. Give it up to Spirit. No, just as Jasmine sent these boys on their way, that no harm can come them, for the grace of the Lord is upon them. No harm can come our way, for the grace of the Lord is upon us. And with that, we trust the twists and the turns and the different expressions that happen in our life at this time. But what I know is wholeness is emerging. What I know is there is a way through. What I know is I have an amazing new story to tell. What I know is that the way of God is made clear. I am grateful to see it, to know it, to step onto it, to swim through it, to embrace it, to be it, to let go of all the past and know that the greater yet to be is birthing itself as my very life, is your very life now. And so I let go in this moment. I surrender unto Spirit. I allow the divine to have its way and the nature of Spirit to emerge here and now. And so it is. Amen.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. And this is what Seaside, no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yay.
Woo, all right. Hey, our affirmation for the week is Spirit stream in me is now coming true. That is right. Let's say that together. Spirit stream in me is now coming true. Touch your heart and say it again. Spirit stream in me is now coming true. One more time, like it is your truth. Together, you know it. Spirit stream in me is now coming true. Love you guys. See you next week. Shape of water.